Well, welcome everyone to Drakewell Museum and Parks Winter Academy. Um, this evening's title of Winter Academy is the Oil Region Library Association. My name is Sarah Goodman and I'm the museum educator and moderator for this evening. For those who might be unfamiliar with us, the museum is located in Titusville, Pennsylvania, and is one of several historic sites owned by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and administered by the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission. Drakewell preserves and interprets the site of the Drake Well, chronicling the birth and development of the petroleum industry in Pennsylvania and its global growth. We are pleased to have you join us for this event and would like to thank Dan and Emily for presenting and helping us wash away the winter blues and discover more about our region's rich history. I would also like to thank our partners, the Friends of Drakewell Incorporated, for helping the museum bring this program to you. I would like to go over a few logistics for this evening's program before we get started. Just a reminder that your camera will be turned off once the presentations start, and we will also mute your microphones. After the presentation, we'll have question and answer, and you can turn off your, or I should say, turn on your microphone and your camera at that time. If you have any questions during the program, I ask that you place them in the chat, which is located at the bottom of your screen. If it's a question that I can answer, I will reply to the answer in the chat. And if not, we can save the question for the end of the presentation. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dan and Emily from the Oil Region Library Association, and I will let them introduce themselves. We're going to turn our cameras off at this time if you are not presenting and mute our microphones. Thanks so much, everyone.
Good evening. Thanks for inviting us and everyone for attending. I will join you in going black as well on video. I just want to give you enough time to put the face to the name. But I'm Dan Flaherty, and I'm the Executive Director of Oil Region Library Association, which, to save some airwind, we're going to just refer to it as ORLA from this point on, so not to confuse anyone. I've been with the association since its founding, and in 2015, and my roots begin with the Oil City Library in a professional capacity in 2013, volunteered as far back as 2011. Emily, where do you hail from?
Yes, so I'm Emily. I am the Adult Services Coordinator at the Oil City Library. So I've been based at the Oil City Library for as long as I've been working with Orla and the organization. So I've been there for about 5 years now. So yeah, I do a little bit of everything there. Do adult programs, do help with research, whole bunch of stuff.
You will find that our libraries do a whole bunch of stuff and many things. So all of our staff generally have to wear as many hats as the amount of services as our locations offer. So our intention tonight was just to describe a little bit about the organization, and then I was going to go into our general mission and link it to some specific services and resources. And then Emily is going to bail me out on everything I forget and gloss over. And then with her expertise and skill sets of being the main researcher and some of her projects that she does on a regular basis at the libraries, felt that it would be interesting to you all to hone in on some of our local, historical, genealogical, and research-based resources, thinking that might be interesting to this audience. And by all means, we encourage anyone to ask questions or make your own comments, because the most important thing I tell people when I present is that it's your libraries, we just work there. So we want our libraries to be a mixture of windows and mirrors is a phrase we use. So we want it to be just like a mirror, a reflection of you and your interest and your needs, but also a window into new ideas, new learning and opportunities to further your information and skill sets. So first we'll go with the organizational background. Orla was founded in 2015 with the intentions of taking on the governance of public libraries in Venango County. And those 3 locations are the Oil City Library, the Franklin Public Library, and the Cooperstown Public Library. So all of those libraries have been around for decades and very long time, but the organization is new. And that was through a combination of choice and future access, and admittedly a little bit of some situations involved there. But we intended to be proactive and to do what we could to dictate as many choices and decisions as we had in front of us, with the intention of creating the most sustainable and accessible library services for Venango County residents and area residents and visitors. So in 2016, the organization took over the Oil City Library from the city of Oil City, and then in the subsequent years took over the other 2 locations from their respective nonprofits. So we've been together, all 3 locations, since January 2018. And in that time, we have consolidated our operations through every layer possible. We all share the same software, the same patron database, the catalog of materials, the same insurance costs, the same directors. So, I oversee, instead of having 3 of everything, where we can, we have 1. That way it enhances access. So one patron at one location inherently gets access to 2 additional locations, cutting down on overhead and cutting down on the number of software licenses and resources we have to purchase. Helps us be good fiscal stewards and save money so that we can then spend our money most effectively on patron services and library access. So the ultimate goal when we came together was, and it still is our vision today, is to nurture a diverse, educated, and inclusive community in all of Venango County. And I want to hone in on all because of the current scenario facing us and our libraries up to this point. Though we encompass all of the library locations in Venango County, unfortunately, we don't freely serve all of the residents of the county. We are governed by a specific library code that is Pennsylvania law. And the short and sweet of it is we need to receive regular contributions from either municipal governments, county government, or school districts to provide that free service on the front end to patrons. And we do have that with most of the county. And for anyone coming from Crawford or Clarion counties, the Pennsylvania law has further incentives for municipalities to support libraries. So because the county governments in Clarion and Crawford counties support their libraries, anyone who resides in those counties and gets a card from their home libraries, whether it's Benson or Knox Public, wherever it may be, you actually can come to the Venango County libraries and get free service from us as well. You just need to first visit and sign up for a card at your quote unquote home library before you visit us. For residents inside of Venango County, approximately 2/3 of the population is directly served, where unfortunately we do have up to 1/3 of the population unserved due to that lack of funding. So we did come together to try to enhance that access for all patrons where we could. We can't necessarily guarantee free service for those municipality residents, but we do have an out-of-town fee of $30 a year. We extend it to the entire household for at least 12 months, and then we go further by offering access to all 3 of our locations. So That allows us to curate our collections, our programs, and our services in a way that maximizes the size and accessibility of them all. So you'll see that not all books are available at all locations, and that's so we can extend our budget further and meet a wider set of interests, since you can pick up and drop off at any location. And we have a delivery system between our libraries that has multiple drop-offs each week to make sure the materials get to your hands as soon as possible. And all of that has been very well received by the general public. We've been very happy with the decisions to go with the organization and go with one county-wide card with the 3 locations. It makes sense to us doing that, and access and connections are our baseline. So we are trying to inform the public of our current state, and then also work to build up to our ultimate goal of that free county-wide access to fill in the remaining gaps. As libraries in general, we focus on our 10,000-foot view is connections. So we have 3 angles that we look at connections. So we try to connect people in groups to information and resources, to each other, and to their local community. Some services and resources overlap and go into multiple areas, where others have very specific roles. They may just tap into one of those. So the information and resources category, that is classically what is attributed to libraries. I imagine most, if not all of you, the first word that comes to mind is a B word when it comes to libraries, and that is book. Those are still very much important and a core part of our service, the most popular part of our service. So books, we don't look at our purpose as book. We look at our purpose as connecting to the information and resource. So book is just a deliverable in that connection. They are cheap, they're durable, they're mass produced, they're long. So books they are around, they will be around. So anyone concerned about the book dying anytime soon, just know that throughout all points of human history, this has been, since the books came about, this has been a concern. When audiobooks came out, were books going away? Now that ebooks are out, are books going away? And no, they are not, because of the durability, the cheap cost, and so many reasons. We will have plenty of books. We do have plenty of books. We have over 100,000 between our 3 locations, and we're adding more all the time. But we have plenty more information and resources. And what I really appreciate about libraries is we tend to add instead of replace. So when audiobooks came out, we added them. We didn't replace all of our books. We added audio. We added movies. We've now added ebooks and digital audiobooks. So we have a number of formats to offer in the information and resources. We have digital databases, our ebooks, and we actually partner with the neighboring counties as well. So residents in the 14 counties in Northwest Pennsylvania all get access to shared Libby collections, which is our ebook provider. We have over 50,000 or over 40 to 50,000 items currently available to search for digital materials. There are over 400 magazine subscriptions digitally. And what's nice about the magazines is it's called simultaneous use. So everyone at the same time can use them, where most of the ebooks and digital audiobooks function like a physical library, and it's 1 copy per user. We have another angle is to each other. So we have programs. Programs are a way to connect people to each other. We have regular ongoing activities for all ages. We also have special events to tailor to certain age groups and interests. You'll notice that our locations attempt to purposely schedule similar activities at different times. That way, if you can't make it to Oil City's Bouncing Babies program, maybe you can head down and attend Franklin's Bouncing Babies or their story time, because they are at different times to try to maximize the potential attendance. Emily puts on a monthly craft club for adults at the library. And we have craft clubs at all locations. We try to tailor to the audience and the community. So we have a teen programmer who has found that the Franklin crew likes coming to regular weekly and every other week after school programs. So Franklin Library hosts a lot of regular teen programs after school, whereas the Oil City Library has found that their audience likes the after hours special events. So we've hosted a Nerf night, we've had movie nights, and sometimes they're for families, other times they're for specific age groups. Just different opportunities to bring people together under a shared interest or program. We also have bookable meeting rooms. We make these available. Some are free. So our smaller rooms are free for any purpose. Then we have larger rooms that you can book for private events. You can celebrate your company's year successes. You can have birthday parties, baby showers, any sort of private event you like. And then we also offer those spaces for free for several hours to nonprofits. So we're trying to extend the reach of other people's missions as well. For instance, I covered last evening Oil City, and we had the Girl Scouts meeting in the basement at the Oil City Library. We do things like Little League baseball registrations and, on the main level. So we're always trying to connect people in different ways, even through other organizational missions and means. We don't need to be the A to Z connector. We just want to connect you with your interest and resource. And then we also offer the informal gathering spaces. So we have heat, we have air conditioning, we have tables and chairs and comfortable spaces to meet for individuals, for groups. It might be an organic meeting spot or a planned meeting at any of our informal gathering spaces. And then the last aspect is to your local community. So we want to be representative and we want to be involved of what's going on in the community. So we find ways to connect ourselves and our patrons to that. One unique instance that is very relevant here, we circulate Drake Well Museum passes, family passes for people. Anybody who has a library card can check out a Drake Well pass to get a taste of what the museum has to offer, and then hopefully become a regular patron to the museum, or possibly with the savings from the admission, maybe they spend a little extra at the gift shop or become a friend of the park. We have flyers for all sorts of community events. We allow anyone essentially offering a community event to hang flyers. We have informational pamphlets for people. We have the different partnerships with community groups that use our space, or we know what they're doing at their spaces to point people to. We have bus routes. We sell tickets for different community events, like wine walks and the first nights, even if we're not directly involved in them. Then we provide general information to other community groups and services. We're often the distribution point for public notices. When municipal governments are required to provide documents to the public and make them available for people, they generally utilize our services for that. And then we really have taken those connection goals and just pumped steroids into them, in my opinion. And I really think we're maximizing the connection points in some of the services and programs we offer. So recently, within the past year, we partnered with another community group called the ARC. The ARC provides services and programs for adults with certain handicaps and disabilities. And they noticed that we were circulating other things beyond books, movies, and audiobooks that people could check out with their library card. So the things that they noticed that we already had were STEM kits, so science, technology, engineering, and math. They are essentially things like, magnetiles and coding robots and different games and connecting pieces. We put them in a ready-made kit and circulate them to teachers, to families, to individuals for their enjoyment. We have family games. We have bake kits. We have chargers. We have appliance meters. We have an impact driver and drill. a magnifier, and then the most popular thing that we circulate in those materials is our Wi-Fi hotspots. So because we have ongoing data charges for those, that currently is the only item we charge for to check out. They are $10 a week, but they work for 10 devices simultaneously, unlimited data in all of North America and US owned territory in the Caribbean. So people who don't have internet at home, people who may be traveling out of their normal Wi-Fi zone and don't want to purchase or up their data plan, they can pay us $10 to check out a Wi-Fi hotspot for their uses. And when this ARC group noticed all these things and asked, why do you have that? And we told them it was about connections, connecting people, all of, the games connect you to each other. Different resources connect you to being able to do things on your own. And an example of that I like to give is for car maintenance. We have what's called an OBD2 scanner. So if you have a check engine light on your car, you can check out this scanner and plug it into your car, and it tells you the code that why your check engine light is on. And so you can then take that code and look it up on a database that we subscribe to for all auto repair manuals of all sorts of vehicle makes and models. And you can take that two different ways. For the DIYer, anyone who has that in your blood, you can, if you choose, do the A to Z. You diagnosed, you then identified how to repair, and then you can do it yourself. Or you can at least keep your mechanic honest if you aren't the DIY type. You can come into us, check it out, learn a little bit about why it's going on and what it should occur. And then that way, when you take it to the shop, you can have a baseline understanding of what to expect. And so those are our connection points that we were already leaning into. And the ARC had a similar collection, but of recreational items. And in their offices, they weren't connecting with people as much. So they started using our meeting rooms that we provide freely available to them for different paint and sip programs. They were coming and doing art workshops for their patrons and said, hey, we'd also like to bring our collection of cool stuff to you all if you could absorb it into your collection and make it available. So they gifted us an amazing set of recreational items. So you can now check out things like Can Jam, Cornhole, Yardzy, which is blown up Yahtzee in a bucket for your yard instead of on a table in your kitchen. There are, for snow season, there's snowball making kits, there's snowshoes, there's universal snowboards and sleds, again, connecting people to each other and to their community. When it comes to the things like that are kind of obscure and oddball that people don't expect, we generally follow a pattern of either expensive, risky, or one-time use. So things where we can offset your pocket or checkbook. If we can maybe show you something, we don't get a lot of the expert level stuff. We have basic fishing equipment, rods and tackle boxes. If you try it out and find out fishing isn't for you, you're not out anything. But if you find out, hey, I do like this and I could turn this into a hobby or a career, then you at least have a baseline understanding where you can go on your own and then purchase your own equipment. Or maybe you have your own fishing equipment, but you have a friend coming over. You can then extend your equipment, to your buddy that's coming for the weekend. So we really are leaning heavily into connections. And so books are very much a part of that, will always be a part of that. But increasingly, it is extending well beyond that. And I will dive into just an overview of our digital resources real quick before I kick it over to Emily here. Libby, as I mentioned, is our ebook and digital audiobook service. So anyone who has a library card in Northwest PA already, download that on your phone, get it on your Kindle, and look for your library and browse away. We'll help you set it up if you get stuck at all. Canopy with a K, is a streaming service like Netflix. Thoughtful entertainment is their motto. So you get a lot of foreign films, Film Fest award winners, documentaries. You have the entire PBS lineup, like the Ken Burns films. You get 10 downloads a month with your card, and you get unlimited access to their kids' content. I'm going to skip over one because Emily's going to dive into it. And then there's Mango Languages. So they have up to, last I checked, there was 40 languages. They have, quote unquote, dead languages like Gaelic, which they call Irish, or Latin. And then they also have contemporary popular languages like, Italian, French, and then they have English for second language speakers. And then they have a fun one, learn how to talk like a pirate that the family can enjoy together. We subscribe to Power Library through the state, which is a collection of a number of different reference resources we could have our own session on in itself. Cisco Networking Academy are 6-week self-guided technical courses. And then Gale courses are also self-guided, instructor-led courses that really tailor to business services. So you can learn how to, the best example I give is our website, which you can find at oilregionlibraries.org, was created in-house by Natalie on our staff, who, in my opinion, created one of the best local, if not the best local websites there is. And she took a class in the Gale courses to learn how to build that website, and it led to the awesome website that you can access today. And then Emily can dive into one very popular one that I skipped over, in addition to some other services we offer.
Yeah, so I'll back up a little bit and come back to the digital resource portion of what I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about the different historical research, genealogical based services and things that we offer at all three of our locations. So the main thing that we do offer that anybody's free to come in and use at any time is our Pennsylvania collection. So each library has books that all have to do with Pennsylvania, local items. So most of the collection will be specific to our county, Venango County. We have Crawford County, we have some Clarion County. So it's more so just the oil region, Northwest Pennsylvania in general. And we have, books on that shelf about the history of Oil City, Franklin. We have Titusville. We have books about Pit Hole. We have all sorts of different Pennsylvania related topics on that shelf. Another collection that we have is a collection all about oil. We have a cabinet where all of the books are just about the history of oil, the production of oil, oil companies, all sorts of books, anything you can think about with oil, it's going to be in that collection there. And that collection is housed in one of the special areas that we have in the library, where we house all of our most of our local history collections. So in the Oil City Library, we have what's called the Heritage Room, where we have all sorts of local resources. So we have the oil books up there. We also have books just about other local items of interest. We keep cemetery records there. We keep yearbooks, census records, city directories. We have maps. We have atlases. We have random newspaper clippings about lots of different topics and subjects of things related to our area. We have family histories. So if somebody wrote like a book or like a little pamphlet or put together a folder about their specific family and the genealogy of their family, and they donate it to us, we'll keep it up on a shelf there, or we have a filing cabinet where we keep some of those as well. Similarly, the Franklin Library has the PA room where they keep their collection of similar items as well. Now, I believe that the PA room has open hours that you can drop in, and volunteers are there to help you do some research. Whereas at the Oil City Library, our Heritage Room, We don't have that currently. That's something that we want to offer in the future. That's something, that Dan talked about, is access and connecting people to resources. So a goal of ours is to get that room back open, staffed with volunteers, to help people complete research, with the help of, a volunteer or by themselves. We also, to make up for not having that room be open, we do accept research requests at the library. So people can stop in to the library and, tell us what they're looking for, and we can fill out a form and do a research request for them, do the research for them. We have a form on our website as well. So people that might like live out of state or live further away, who are looking for an obituary for a family member, or, just looking for a piece of local history that they might have remembered from growing up, we can do that research for them. So they do come at a cost. We do charge $5 per item that we're looking up. So if you want us to look up an obituary for you, we charge $5 for that. If it's something that's going to require a little extra research, we charge $20 per hour for things that are going to be a little bit more extensive. Also, if you stop into the library and, just want to look at some of the records that we have available in the room, we'll always gladly run up to the room, bring down items for you to look through. Like if like, hey, I want to look at my high school yearbook, graduated this year from Oil City, we can run up, grab that for you, and you can look through it. Other ways that you can do research and dive into some local history collections is through the digital resources. So a couple of the ones that Dan skipped over are Newspaper Archive. We have that on our website, and that gives you access to newspapers throughout what we subscribe to currently. It gives you access to newspapers from Pennsylvania. So we have available on there the Derrick, we have the Blizzard, which was another Oil City newspaper, we have the Franklin News Herald, we have the Titusville Herald, we have, a bunch of different newspapers available on there that are related to local interests. We don't have all of the newspapers. So for example, the Derrick in Oil City only goes up to the year like 1977, 1978. So more recent news articles you won't be able to find on that website, but it is really good for helping you find information about, family members, about different businesses that you might, remember, want to do a little bit of research into. You can search by keyword, you can search by a person's name, you can browse by different publications, you can browse by date. So if you have a certain date picked out that, again, going back to like an obituary, if when somebody has passed, you can go and pull up that date right away, pull up that paper, and find that really quick. Another one of our digital resources that we have is called Family Search. And they are a nonprofit organization that offers access to genealogical records and different education. So it has, it kind of works like ancestry.com. So you can go in there, search for a person's name, and you'll find a bunch of different records that they have available on their site. So I think now they have over 1 billion individuals on their website that they have records for. They have lots of images, they have books, they have microfilm, and other records like that that are available to search on that website. Another resource that's pretty new to us, and it's available through Power Library, is called MyHeritage. So that's another resource, kind of like an ancestry.com. This one, I haven't had a lot of time to play with it yet, but it seems to be or cover a wider area than Family Search does. So this MyHeritage site covers records from um, like 48 different countries. So you can look, through records. Like my family is mostly Polish, so I pulled up records from Poland and started looking through, the different resources that they have digitized from that country. So you can go through and pull up, whatever country's records you'd like to go through, see if you find anything interesting there. They have records that span back a couple centuries. And it looks like it's another really good resource for people who want to dig into their family history. And I think that pretty much covers what
I've got
what
two
I
more.
had to talk about. Okay.
Okay. So for one, Emily sold herself short. We have a monthly newsletter. I'm going to put the link in the chat. So if you go to our website and click on the information tab, you will find a link to sign up for our monthly newsletter. We publish it in print or send it digitally. And Emily has an ongoing section called Then and Now, where she goes around the county and she takes a picture of the same space and shows you a historic picture of what that space looked like and what it looks like today with a little description of what you're looking at. So it's not in-depth research, but it's just informational and very interesting about many different areas throughout the county. And then Oil City specific, also in that information tab, we have a in-house publication called Hidden Heritage, which actually won a preservation award from the ORA. It is researched by Kay Dawson, a retired teacher and genealogical enthusiast, written by Judy Etzel, who had a career at the Derrick and then formatted and created, put together through our staff, again, Natalie. And there's, Emily, how many editions now? Like 60-ish?
There's about 60, 61 or so. They've been published over the span of like 2.5 years or so at this point.
And they took a little hiatus and they're looking to restart again. And they're purposely trying to find the hidden heritage of the Oil City area. So it is not filled with the popular oil stories, though oil is a heavy player due to the funding and nature of our history. But you get into notorious women, the circus coming through town, presidential candidates visiting, famous sports leagues and athletes. It just runs the gamut of local history and interesting research. It even includes a special edition on the space in the second floor of the library, which is an auditorium space that we're looking to renovate and restore to make publicly accessible again. So it's just a great resource that gets 10 to 16,000 reads each published issue. So it's widely popular. And many of these ideas were borrowed from other libraries, or if they were created in-house, we've tried to extend it as far as possible, or they came from people like you. So we highly encourage your active involvement, participation, input into what we're putting on. We also ask for patience, because it's limited funding is a real thing. And then also much of this is new, and we're trying to stay in line with our mission, keep community interests and needs while also doing it the right way. And it takes time to build some of these. So you'll find, like the Cooperstown Library, for example, is very small, and things like the drill and toolkits, they're very new to us. So Oil City generally is the guinea pig to try new things out. It's the largest library location. It's a historic Carnegie library, beautiful and interesting in its own right. Even our building histories you can find on our website are interesting enough in their own right. But it's the biggest with the largest audience, so it tends to be the first that tries things, and then Franklin, and then Cooperstown. So Franklin just got a grant last year and have made significant efforts to upgrade their collection of things, where Cooperstown currently has to rely on borrowing from our collections. But with your support and with time and ongoing efforts, we look to provide all services equitably across our locations. But whenever we can't, we try to at least get them to you in your hands, or allow you to come visit the other locations to fulfill all of your needs. That's all I have.
That's amazing. I had no clue that the library did objects, like, you know, I'd heard about some of like the big city libraries doing like little repair workshops and things, if you had something and like a toaster and you wanted to try to fix it. But I never heard of the libraries having, you can go and get a drill. That just totally blows my mind. I I love it. I actually love it because, as you said, there's little projects you want to do, and it's like, how often am I going to really need this tool to have to go out and buy it if I can just go to the library and sign it out? That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I love it.
And
We
we
get that
tend to
reaction
borrow
a lot.
yeah. And we tend to borrow from the urban centers, like Toronto Public Library. They have an entire room full of tools. You pay $50 a year to get access to all the saws and drills and everything you want. And we don't have the capacity or the funding for that, and even the public demand. We need the
Right.
public to catch up to our expectations as well. So we wanted to start with what we could do. And a drill and an impact driver are probably the most popular, frequently used tools that you have. And so we figured we'd start there, try to educate and inform the public. We hope that this information is just secondhand knowledge eventually, and that you won't be as surprised, and that it's all libraries doing this. So it's both exciting to tell people what we're doing and what we're about, and it's admittedly a little discouraging at times if it's not yet out there. But this is why we're so appreciative of opportunities like this to grow in the awareness, and also possibly lead to different partnerships and users along the way.
Maybe in society, we need to change the term library to mean lending and learning place. I think, or maybe we won't call them libraries anymore. Maybe we'll call them lending and learning place. I like that.
I've been trying to come up for a decade or more of a 2-word sentence of everything we do. And because library is everything, and then also unique to anyone, I love that we do, and we have the free reign to do so many things, but it makes it very difficult to then describe in a hot phrase or catchword.
Maybe you should just say, we got it. We got it. Don't have it, we got it. Or we can get it. That would work. Well,
I'm glad you brought that up, because if we don't have the items, we can freely borrow from all other libraries in Pennsylvania. And same thing with like Libby. All Pennsylvania residents freely qualify for a card from Philadelphia. They have everything, but they have the longest wait lines for everything as well. So we find that you can mix your library borrowing by mixing in Philadelphia items along with Crawford County's items, with Venango County's items, and curate an entire reading list through libraries all across the state. Again, because if we don't got it, we get it.
That is a wonderful thing, is that the libraries do work together to help each other out. One thing I wanted to know about, ask if the libraries have is, museums, we have physical objects, artifacts and stuff, and we also have documentation and books and things like that. Does the library have an artifact collection too of Oil City history? Are you also a museum in some aspects of things?
So we don't have many artifacts, at least not anything large. So some of the files that we do have in our heritage room at Oil City, at least, will have like little objects. Like we have like an old checkbook from like a local bank. We have um, tickets or like a timetable from the Citizens Traction Company from the streetcars that used to run through town. So we'll keep a hold of smaller things like that. Nothing too large though. Just the space, the interest, getting it out to people. It's just not really the proper place to keep it.
We have stumbled into some things that we've kept around. Oil City
Mhm.
does have in a display case a random log that says it came from the Boston Harbor the day after the Boston Tea Party. Um, I just recently found an autograph and a small writing from Mark Twain that's signed. We have other pieces, but admittedly, I have unloaded many of those things that we used to have and gifted to either you at the museum or the Venango Museum, because back to the beginning of this, access, connections. Our focus is on getting materials and things in the hands of people and to freely access and use. So my theory has essentially been, if it's meant to be behind a glass case or under lock and key, you are better off having it, or the Venango Museum is better off having it, because that's your mission. Your mission is preservation, where ours more so is access and connections. So we do preserve, microfilm and digital materials and certain things that Emily said. Other things that we, portraits we have, but most of our portraits of historic figures are, they have a library. They were founders of the library or big benefactors. So we have some things, and some are just selfish. We don't want to give up. I don't want to give up my Mark Twain autograph now that I have it. But if we find that we don't have a purpose, we don't have a place, then we find a home for it in another community service provider. And you and Brandon are my first two calls. If there's something that someone wants to gift to us or make available to the community, but they don't want people to see it, touch it, feel it, then we actually reach out to our local museums to be a museum, where we don't want to be in that game as much, because our spaces are in such demand for other things that we need to make room for books, for can jam, for program attendees.
Well, and I think that's something to really point out, is that libraries are accessible, museums are accessible too, but your mission is accessible, touchable, usable. Ours is preservation, accessible and preservation. So it is the looking behind glass. And I mean, we do allow access to things within reason. We do bring out research materials for people to look at and touch, and books and things. Um, and it's great that we can all work together and help each other and help the community figure things out and dive deeper into history and things going on in the world. So it's great. Love it. I'm excited. Now I just want to, like, you guys are going to get sick of seeing me down there. I'm going to be like poking around being like, "Oh, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that?" Yeah. This is going to be dangerous.
We welcome you with open arms.
Yeah.
And Leah has asked what our most popular programs are. Youth, there's certain ebbs and flows. And so we try not to be restrictive. So we don't have age settings. There's essentially guidelines or suggestions. So Bouncing Babies is geared toward essentially birth to 2, and story time is your preschool age. But we understand that people often have multiple children, and so they want to bring 2 or 3 kids, and one is a 1-year-old and one's a 4-year-old, and we encourage them bring them both to both programs. So depending on the birth cycles or different things going on, our Bouncing Babies program is the most popular, where other times it's the story time that's more popular. But in general, those core reading programs are the most popular youth programs of between Bouncing Babies and story time. And then I would say, and Emily can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say our craft programs for our adult craft clubs are the most popular there. Though I'd like to take the opportunity to promote the last Saturday of this month. We have partnered with the Bell Letters Club over the last, this will be the 3rd year. We wanted to have a special event and during the off season, and now we hope that it's far enough removed from the holiday season and so far out from the summer festivals that during National Puzzle Day, we always pick the Saturday closest to that, which is the 27th this year. We have a puzzle challenge. There is a 2 groups, so there's a 500-piece puzzle and a 1,000-piece puzzle. It's for all ages. Teams up to 4 members decide which bracket they want to participate in. It's a $20 fee, and all teams get the same puzzle. And it's a race to build the puzzle the fastest. People have finished each year, but if nobody finishes, the team with the most pieces wins. We have built-in breaks for restroom breaks. So if you have your expert puzzler, you don't have to tape them to the table. We have bathroom breaks. We have refreshments. We have a puzzle raffle going on to complement it. And we'll have a 50-50 drawing there that day. So, and Emily is the one who puts that on. But I would say for adult, it is the craft club, but we do find success with our special one-time events for adults. We have Festival of the Book. Every year we close down Central Avenue Plaza and have local authors come in and make themselves available to the public along with different community groups. The Franklin Library has a quilt-a-thon and bunko group. We do have regular book clubs, but I would say for kids, it's those core reading programs, and for adults, it's the craft programs that are most popular.
That Bouncing Baby one, that just sounds fun. It sounds like it'd be so like a nice de-stressing time. Like even if you don't have a child, just to go and just,
Yep.
even the
It's
children's
story time.
I'd like to go to story time and just de-stress and be a kid for a minute.
Yeah, they are tailored to their learning level. So story time, you generally get 3 books, you get a couple songs, and then a craft sometimes, but it's mostly about the sit and read a book with a few complementary pieces. Where Bouncing Babies, it is a lot of singing and a lot of rhyme and repetition. You do get some reading in there, but it is more so about the rhyme, repetition, fun.
Does your library association do any of the programs with the allowing children to read to dogs at all?
We just had the therapy dogs in within this past week, and they come to all 3 of our locations periodically. Yes.
I used to volunteer at a library down in Pittsburgh, and that was my favorite program to volunteer with, was for the children to read to the dogs. It was a great day, and it was really fun to watch over the year a child blossom with reading because he was reading to a dog. So that's great. You guys offer that.
And we don't pretend to be resident experts or skilled in everything. So that's why we try to lean into being the connector. So, when you mention libraries fixing things, if there was a handyman out there, we encourage any hobbyist, enthusiast, professional that wants to share their skills. We'll turn it into a public program. We just recently had, Marcy Hall is owner of Woods and River coffee shop. She used to work at the Erie Library. She is a 3D printing enthusiast, and she brought her skills to free 3D printing classes at the library recently. We've had our teen coordinator at Franklin had a year-long Adulting 101 program for teens, and she had a mechanic come in, an accountant come in, someone to come in just to teach them how to tie a tie. And so we're always trying to, we've had craft brewers come in and put on homebrew workshops. We have someone putting on meditation programs this year. So we try to be the connector. And so if anyone out there has any idea, or even if it's your normal day job and you just want to try to attract a wider audience, we give you plenty of opportunity to do so. And in our small market town, we understand everything comes at a little bit of a risk. You can do the same thing the same time and get one person one day and 50 the next week you try it. So we give time and patience and opportunity to connect different interests and skill sets to the community at large.
Somebody that we'll actually be looking for soon is somebody interested in gardening, maintaining gardens, harvesting, because something new that we're going to be doing this year is having a seed library. So we spent the past year getting donations of different seeds for flowers, vegetables, fruits, things like that. And we're going to have a seed library where people can come in and take seeds home with them. And then at the end of the year, once they have their harvest, the idea is to save some of those seeds from their harvest and bring it back and, keep replenishing the supply year after year. So that's another great thing that we're gonna be offering here shortly.
And then we have a rototiller and hand tools and soil blockers that creates many blocks of soil for you to plant your seeds in. And we'd even like to have programs on the planting and share plants before they get to the outside planting. So, again, ideas generated from, I'm a thief and an adapter. I am not an idea generator. I've got amazing generators on staff, but I'm not one of them. But we do our reading and our follow-up, and we've got our ears perked up and listening for everything out there. And we tend to see ourselves as the connector, the community guinea pig. So by all means, bring it on. We try to under promise and over deliver so that we're setting expectations, but the more people that know and catch on and utilize, we hope to reach that ceiling much closer than the floor.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Very, very informative. I'm so happy we're recording this so I can go back and listen to it and pick up some of the things I missed. I had taken a couple little notes to remind myself, okay, do this, do this, do this. Not only for things at Drakewell Museum, but also for personal things as well. So does anybody have any
stop in
questions?
sometime.
I'm going to. As I said, you might get sick of seeing me. But does anyone have any questions for Dan or Emily before we say goodnight? Any questions? Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Please note that this recording will be placed on our Drakewell Museum and Park YouTube channel, for if you want to go back and reference something that Dan and Emily spoke of. And then our next Winter Academy program will be on Thursday, February 1st, and it will be all about the Venango Museum in Oil City. So you can learn and discover everything that they have to offer visitors and the residents of the oil region. So I encourage you to join us for that. And then the last one of the year will be February 29th, and that's going to be presented by Ivy Kuberry. And she's a wonderful person who's going to talk about how the environment has changed since the striking of oil till today. So that's going to be a really informative program as well. So I encourage you to join us for that. Again, thank you everybody for joining us. I hope the rest of your evening goes well. And don't forget that if you look at the temperatures coming up, it's getting pretty cold. So bundle up, keep warm, and be safe. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. You have a great evening.
Thank you.